Yeah, do the little moves.
The shoulder. Oh, the shoulder! What can I get? Alright. Alright, now, this is episode, I think, 11.
Yeah.
Chronologically. Episode number 10 is gonna drop after this one.
No.
Yes.
No.
Alright, now. First, we're gonna start
We have to discuss it with our editing team.
Yeah, i.e. us. I'm gonna have my people contact his people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so first things first, like we're gonna talk about is our book. So I finally finished the book. I started it last semester, but I finished it today on the train this morning. Now, let me tell you something. In all seriousness, but I'm gonna be like serious now. Okay, in all seriousness, like dead ass right now. Even if you don't like to read and like you just for whatever reason have an itch to read a book, I strongly recommend you read this book. It's a long read, but it's totally worth it. Literally the last paragraph, even like, well, if you were reading like since we last talked, like the last like 30 pages that I like before I finished the book, it was kind of sad to read. Not because what he was, well, I guess because you could tell that he knew his time was kind of coming up. Right. And I don't know in terms of when the book finished and when he got assassinated happened. I don't know what was the like time gap. Yeah. But he even says in the book, I'm like, I don't even know if I'll be able to still be alive to like read the finishing of this book. And I'm just like, damn. And I'm just like, I really hope he was able to read it, but I honestly don't know. But the last paragraph, which like I really like, and I'm gonna read it to you guys. He already read it. But it was, yes, I have cherished my demagogue role. I know that societies often have killed the people who would have helped to change those societies. And if I can die having brought any light, having exposed any meaningful truth that will help to destroy the racist cancer that is malignant in the body of America, then all of the credit is due to Allah. Only the mistakes have been mine. I just love that last little sentence. Yeah. I'm just like, damn. Yeah. Damn. And then right now I'm reading the epilogue of it. And then hold up, there was this one part in the so basically in the book, I'll give you a little synopsis of it. I use big words now. I read a book. But this
not only a book, bro. The autobiography of Malcolm X book.
but like seeing his like life do such a like 180, because when he was in like Harlem in New York, this man was literally like selling drugs and doing them drugs. Right. And then he was also, I forgot, but at one point he was like delivering prostitutes to white people. Do you remember that? It was a little, it was in the book a little bit. Yeah. And it was this really, okay guys, this part is really gross, but he talks about in the book how one of his friends, this like rich ass white person, his like kink. Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember. Was this. Like I think okay, so back then like white people or some white people really fetishized like black people. So the guy would like the white guy would just be laying in his bed, and then the African American dude would like be in just a diaper with baby powder. Yeah. And just sprinkle it on top of him, and then the dude would like climax, and like that was just like yeah. And that was one
I saw that in the movie, bro. They show it in the movie. It was so.
So this man went from selling drugs to delivering prostitutes to literally just like 180, like just like. And he also robbed houses too. Yeah. And literally just like the complete 180, which is like really interesting to read. And then I thought I'm reading the epilogue now because it's written by the guy who like wrote the book. And it was on 393. And I thought it was kind of funny. He said, Malcolm X said, coffee is the only thing I like integrated because he would put cream in his coffee.
That's funny.
That kind of made me laugh.
I Malcolm X with the jokes.
Really good book. I really hope he was able to read it. But yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Oh, also he also talked about how in the book that he said like, if I die, like just tell him like he wanted to see if he was gonna be right or wrong. that he predicted that his image would be used as a hate, like one of hate and like violence, like that's how the media would portray him, and like, and that they would portray him versus like other like black leaders of the time as like non-violent and him as violent.
Right.
And he was 100% right.
Yeah.
Because what have I talked about in the other podcast? How like in school they would be like, oh, you know, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, they were like the same, but you know, Malcolm X was peaceful.
Yeah,
I mean, Martin Luther King was peaceful, and Malcolm X was violent. And I was just, I read that and I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add on to that.
No, not really. I mean, I feel like, no, yeah. I agree with that, and it's crazy that he was able to predict that. You know what I mean? I feel like in a lot of ways, while I was reading the book, a lot of his ideas were so ahead of his time.
Some of
you
the
know
things,
what I mean?
Some of the things.
It's like, it's so crazy how there's so many things that he discussed in the book that are so related to our time now as a society. You know what I mean? And when it comes to racism, and I think it's just you know, during that time, he was just such a forward-thinking person that a lot of people just try to put him in a certain category. You know what I mean? And it kind of carried over into our history now, and what we see within our schools. You know what I mean? But I feel like you're right. You know, I feel like this should be a book that a lot of people should take the time to read, just because it really changed my perspective on what, like, you know, social justice is. You know
Honestly,
what I mean?
this book, like, I'm so dead ass, like, this book legitimately made me want to be a better person.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, as silly as that sounds, it really did.
You know, and it's just not only just that, but it's like people should really know who Malcolm X is, you know, or who he was. And who he is, because, you know, a lot of the shit that we talk about is still carried, or that he talked about is still carried on till this day.
And I really want people to, although what he did when he was like following Elijah Muhammad was important, because that kind of, you know, led to like who he ended up becoming. I really hope that people focus more on who he was trying to become, and the change he was trying to make after he went to the Mecca. Because even then he was just like, my old ideologies were wrong. I realize that now. I've gone to the Mecca. I've met other Muslims from completely different backgrounds, and like I'm just like, I was wrong about like these things, about like, especially like the white people being the devil. And he's just like, okay, the white people is the devil. It's just America that makes their society and their culture is kind of what makes them really racist. And then he talks about how like America doesn't want like black people to unite, especially like, because if you do, like, and they unite with like other like countries from like Africa, like they have like a real case to like go to the United Nations and be like, look at all this bullshit. And
it's not even like unite, but also like the idea of American people, African American people, not knowing their previous history. You know what I mean?
True.
And it's similar to like Latin American culture too. You know what I mean? Where like a lot of times we don't learn about that. You know what I mean? Like we don't learn about Aztec or Mayan or whatever indigenous group that was previously within not only Mexico but the United States too. You know what I mean? It's like American culture wants you to dissociate as much from your previous history to kind of like bring you down. You know what I mean?
It's interesting that you bring that up, because so I have my next book picked out, but after that I really wanted to find a book on like Aztecs or like Mayans, like, because like I feel like I don't know anything about that, other than like they used to be in Mexico, and like the Spaniards came over, and you know,
and that's the thing also, is that that's how Aztecs and Mayans are always portrayed. You know what I mean? They're portrayed from the conquistador.
Damn, I didn't even
mentality.
really think of, not even
You know
like the
what I mean?
mentality, but it's just like you were there and then
the
they were
perspective.
Yeah.
From the Spaniards' perspective.
Basically,
you know what I
from
mean?
like that point on,
Right,
kind of.
right.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah. And I actually, like 2 years ago, I took a class
Mhm.
in Latin American Studies, and like I realized the same thing that you're realizing right now. I'm like, fuck. This whole time throughout school, I've learned from conquistadors' perspective.
And that's
you
why
know
I
what
want to
mean?
like read a book because I I didn't realize like what
Yeah,
you said, but like
right.
I still wanted to read a book because I wanted to know kind of like what happened, like what were they doing,
Right, what
like
were
when
they-
they were like
right.
going,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like still like prospering,
Right.
But like I never realized like what you just said.
Yeah, you know, and I think that's the problem with American education. It's not only in the Latin American culture, but it's in every other culture that's not American. It's always portrayed from the conquistador perspective.
They
You know
always
what I
say
mean?
that history is written by, I hate to use this word,
Yeah.
but the winners.
Yeah, right.
Where it's kind of true, and then I'm just
Right.
like, damn, like if you could, like imagine like what the world history would be if like the Nazis had won World War II.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you would have been like, oh yeah, like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And I think it's the idea. It takes away from a culture's self-empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because
You don't know where you're from. You don't know your history.
Right. Like Americans, they get the privilege to learn about their history.
Mhm.
I mean, not saying that I'm not American,
Mhm.
and like I'm proud to be an American. You know what I mean? Because I was born here. I've had the privilege to acquire a lot of things that a lot of other people throughout this world don't get to, right?
Mhm.
But also, I have to realize that I have another part of me
Mhm.
where it's connected to something that I really don't know a lot about.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But it also makes me realize that the fact that Americans have this privilege to look back at their history and be proud of it.
Mhm.
That's why there's such a big idea of like Americanism,
Like nationalism.
like nationalism here in America.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because you know,
From a
we
young
know,
early age,
right,
literally
right,
learned,
right.
like Christopher Columbus came over
Right,
here,
right.
blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah, and then we had a freaking revolution against the Brits, and
Right.
we fucking smacked their tea drinking ass
Right,
up,
right.
and then like
You know,
like-
and it's all documented.
Mhm.
It's all documented up to the point that they got here. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
For the most part. And also, it's always that winner's mentality.
Mhm.
You know, America has always won,
Mhm.
quote unquote, has always won
Mhm.
throughout history. You know what I mean? And that's why it creates such a huge sense of nationalism.
Mhm.
You know, but I guess we're getting off topic. But
No, that was on topic.
yeah.
It wasn't on the topic, but it was on topic. It was a good. I like that.
And like besides the whole fact about Malcolm X and social justice,
Mhm.
I think just like we previously discussed, his story just as a person,
Mhm.
that as a person he was able to admit his wrongs.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Be like, hey, I want to change. I want to grow. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a value that a lot of people
Don't
should.
have.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
it honestly, like, it kind of takes a lot to go up to basically in front of everybody. 'Cause
Right,
You got to think about it
right.
like he was going up to the media,
Yeah.
like that's he were like
Yeah.
preaching his words to everybody. He's like, oh yeah, I was wrong.
Right,
And
right.
I don't believe that anymore. And like, please don't portray me like that anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I don't believe in that ideology
Yeah.
of like that type of like Elijah Muhammad's teaching of what Islam is.
Right.
That is not the correct teaching. He's like,
Yeah.
I saw what the correct teaching is,
Mhm.
and that's where
Mhm.
you're supposed to like love everybody.
Right. And it's just like, and so I have so much respect for him because he had to do that at a mass scale
Mhm.
to everybody in this country or
Mhm.
to everybody who
Who
was
listened,
listening.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And like to most of us, it's only to the people
people we
around
know.
us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot to take from that too. You know,
Mhm.
just as a person.
Yeah.
You know, and growth, and when it comes to growth and changing. So yeah.
Yeah, but overall, this book, good soup.
Good too.
Good soup. Now, transitioning from these very deep, thoughtful, talks that we have on the regular, we're gonna talk about some stupid shit. All right, so Davante Adams got traded.
Let's go.
Now, let me give you the Packers fans' perspective first.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I was at the gym, and
Yeah.
I didn't even realize he got traded until like 2-3 hours later.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
like
when
I-
you sent me the tweet, I was like, I already knew this.
As soon as I he knew before me.
Yeah.
So literally, I was at the squat rack, and I just like, I just checked Twitter.
Squidward's Twitter.
In between my sets. And like I just see a tweet that says like Davante Adams has been traded to Las Vegas for 2 premium picks. And like I was just like this is like I was in shock.
Yeah.
I like clicked the profile because I was hoping it was a fake Adam Schefter account.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like I was in such shock. Like I knew that was a possibility because he said he wasn't gonna play on the franchise tag, but I expected the whole situation to get dragged out more. That's what came as most shock to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got a
Yeah.
first round and a second round pick this year. So here's the thing: is do I wish Davante Adams stayed? Yes, because as this man, I've been calling him top 10 since his 3rd year. Because in his 2nd year, he didn't suck. His hands are just what suck. He would be open, and he would just always drop the ball. And like
Right.
Packers fans wanted to cut him for
Right.
like Jeff Janis and Jared Aberdeen. And I know you don't know who those 2 guys are. Just to put that into perspective of like the insanity that some Packers fans were preaching. Within his 3rd year, my boy, he went off. But where was I going?
I think you were getting to the picks.
Yeah. So I'm okay. So yeah. So do I wish he would have stayed? Yes. But here's the thing. I'm okay that we traded him because I didn't want to pay him that money.
Yeah.
And we got a first and a second rounder, which I'm just like, okay, we had no leverage really in this like having to trade him thing. And we got a first and a second rounder this year. And I'm just like, you know what? As long as with those 2 picks, we get we get players who are consistently average,
Yeah.
then I feel like it's a fair trade. What?
I just think Kenny in the 4th quarter talked about this like a long time. I don't know when he talked about it. Just a while back ago. I heard about it. I think sports overall values way too much the idea of picks. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's why I said as long as we draft 2.
It's just
I know.
You know, the draft history of the Packers too. You know what I mean? It's just like
Actually, with our GM that we have now, the only first round pick he hasn't hit on was Jordan Love. Every other first round pick was Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary, and Darnell Savage, and then it was Jordan Love. So those 3 first ones he hit on. So now that he has 2 first rounders again, I'm like hoping he'll hit on at least one of them.
Yeah.
And then we have 2 second rounders again. So that's why I'm just like, well, like you're right. That's why I'm just like the idea of the picks. I'm just like you have to hit on them though.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
why I'm okay with this so far. Now if he drafts 2 busts with those picks, then I'm like that's
Right.
that's why we gotta wait and see a little bit. But as of right now, I'm okay that we traded him. Just because I'm just like, I didn't want to pay him all that money. I still think we'll be fine. I still think we'll make the playoffs. I wish Davante Adams was nothing but the best. And I low-key...
I don't. Cut out. Nah.
I honestly, I'd be willing to buy a Raiders Davante Adams jersey. I really would. Just as an excuse to get a Raiders jersey. Because it's a cool jersey.
Fucking Mexican ass, bro.
Yeah. Oye, guys, we the Raiders.
A lot of the audience might not get that, but you know. Bro, Mexicans are either a fan of the Raiders,
The
Cowboys, the Dodgers,
The Lakers.
San Francisco,
The Lakers.
and the Lakers. That's it.
Those are like
That's
it. That's high-key fact. That's actually big fact. Unless they're from like a city, right, surrounding one.
Right.
But like for the most part, you're like it's like Cowboys, Raiders, the fucking Lakers, the Dodgers.
Right. It's all West Coast.
Yeah.
All West Coast.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay. Well, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
I'll bring it up.
Well, the reason why a lot of Mexicans are into the Dodgers is because they had a pitcher back in the day. His name was Francisco Valenzuela, and he was like Mexican. So they would show the games in Mexico, and like that's where the fan base started. Yeah.
Okay, now see that's an interesting thing. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
But I'm like I said before, as of right now, I'm okay that we traded. I'm really okay that we traded him. Like I'm sad to see him go. Here's something. So I guess from what I've seen on like social media, from the people who are saying that Rodgers is gonna be washed now, and the people that are saying Davante is gonna be washed now. If I had to pick between one of the two of who won this quote unquote breakup. Because, okay, so I saw some other people on social media talking about how, like, Davante and Aaron Rodgers didn't get along. I'm like, okay, that's, like, complete bullshit. That's, like, complete bullshit. I know. But that's why I called it a quote-unquote breakup. But if I had to pick one of the two who, like, won it, I would honestly go with Davante just because he goes to another quarterback who for those that don't know, Davante and Derek Carr, played together at Fresno State in college. And they're, like, good friends to this day. Like, apparently the house that Davante bought in Las Vegas is like right next to David Carr's house. Derek Carr's house. And so that's why I'm like, Davante is going to still put up his numbers and he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
The only thing with Rodgers, the reason why I would say he like quote unquote loses is because I'm just like, well, we have who's going to be our number one? Now, in my opinion, it should be Alan Lazard.
Yeah.
I really feel like Alan Lazard is gonna make some motherfucking strides because even towards I'm a big Alan Lazard fan.
Yeah.
And towards like the second half of the last season, he was starting to go off. Like he was like really like what's the word I'm looking for? Like cementing himself as our number two.
Yeah.
We'll see how our other we picked last year in the third round, Amari Rodgers. He's like a slot wide receiver. We'll see how he does. We'll see if we draft any other wide receivers. Maybe pick up somebody in free agency. But yeah, even with that being said, I feel like the Raiders are still gonna come out in like last in their division. Because I feel like the Chargers are gonna get better. I feel like their fucking Broncos got better.
Chargers got like a young team.
That's what I'm saying. So that's why I feel like they're gonna take another step.
Yeah.
They also traded for Khalil Mack, so another defensive like line is gonna look real nice. The Broncos got better because he got Russell Wilson, and then the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Like no, I needed explanation there.
You really think the Broncos are gonna be that good though, even with Russell Wilson?
The biggest hole that they had on their team last year was a quarterback. So they kind of fulfilled that.
What about their receivers?
They traded like their like third like number 3 receiver. That was like and then some picks. So like the receivers they're nice. You got this one rookie I think this is like his second or third year now. And his quarterback before was like Drew Lock. And no disrespect to Drew Lock, but like you know Russell Wilson. But yeah, I still feel like the Packers are gonna make the playoffs. And with that all being said, fuck Davante Adams. I'm just kidding. But I hope we win the Super Bowl without him. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, you guys couldn't win the Super Bowl before, and that was with him. So it's not like it makes a difference.
Maybe. I know we were talking about this where like
I wanted to bring this up.
Where like Aaron Rodgers was targeting Davante a lot. You know what I mean? Because he's Davante Adams. But maybe because Davante's not there anymore, the ball is going to be spread around.
I'm glad you brought that up.
A versatile offense.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to bring that up and I forgot.
Yeah.
Especially, I know other Packers fans watching this. No, exactly. Well, there's no one watching this, but I know, I know that they will know what I'm talking about. Especially in that playoff game against the 49ers, how Aaron Rodgers just had tunnel vision, and it was just so obvious that he was looking Davante Adams' way every single time.
Right.
It was like really annoying to watch. And even in other games where like previously in like the start of Aaron Rodgers' career, he would like spread the ball out like a lot more evenly. And you can make the argument that it was because he had better wide receivers like all around.
Yeah.
And like that's fair, but like still, like it was just really annoying, especially on that last play before the block punt on the 3rd down and 10, how he threw it to Davante in double coverage when Alan Lazard was wide open in the middle of the field. But whatever. You know, Alan Lazard, he's my new number 1 favorite receiver on the Packers. Yeah.
Okay. Bro, what's this thing with like the NFL and trading? Like they have like the worst trading market in any sports. Like let's say if Davante was in the NBA, he would definitely not be traded for 2 first-round picks. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing.
Or 2, a first and a second.
Here's the thing. Okay, you bring up a good point. In the NFL, it's a little different, just because trades aren't that common of a thing.
Right.
And then in the NBA, draft picks, unless it's a lottery pick,
Yeah.
holds a lot less weight
Right.
than in the NFL. Because you see, the thing in the NFL is like, so in the NBA, there's 2 rounds and that's it. And then
Yeah.
after the lottery, for the most part, there's a huge disparity in like the talent gap.
Yeah.
In the NFL, you could still, in any round really, you could find gems, especially in like the first round. Like honestly, it doesn't matter if you pick number 1 or 32. If you miss on your first round pick, it's honestly a disappointment.
Yeah,
in the
right.
in the NBA, if you
Yeah.
like miss on like the 27th overall pick in the first round, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And then the same, even with second rounders, is like holds obviously a little less weight because it's in the second round.
Yeah.
But it's like that's kind of the reason. This is the hold more weight because in the NFL the rosters are bigger.
Yeah.
And there's
right.
more players on the field.
Talent. More
Yeah,
talent.
and more players on the field. So
Right.
it's like the more talent you have, like the better.
Right. It's just weird to me because I very rarely ever see like a player for player trade. You know what I mean?
That's
It's
true.
always like a player for picks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, but that's kind of the reason why.
Yeah.
It's just like in the NFL, like the value of the picks hold more
Right.
weight.
Also, do you think it has to do with the value of the player too? Like I mean, Davante Adams is valuable, but like in the NBA, you know, I mean, we talked about this like long time ago, but like the NBA has a good, like the players are supported well. You know what I mean?
You are right.
And in the NFL, the players, even though they have high value, they're not, as a commodity, as a product, they're not valued that much. You know what I mean?
I would say as an individual outside of
Right.
the sport, the
Yeah.
NBA values like the players, like their value is a lot more than like the NFL.
Right.
But like what you're saying is kind of like I'm gonna be honest, I lost my train of thought. What'd you say again?
Like in the NBA.
No, I lost it again.
You lost it again, or
Keep going.
In the NBA, the value of the player, the ethicality, like how much the owner respects the respect of a player.
Oh, that's just an NFL thing. Where
Yeah.
Where the thing is, where the NFL kind of sucks is they suck in their player empowerment.
Yeah, right.
Part of the reason for that is every time a CBA comes up, there's 53 guys or 52 guys on the roster, and I know what you're thinking is like they're all like millionaires, like they should like just suck it up and then go through a lockout.
Yeah.
But you're right, like the top players get paid a shit ton,
Yeah.
but like the 50th guy on the roster is only making like, I know this is gonna sound like crazy, but like they're only making a few like $100,000 in that, which I know what you're thinking, like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of money, and you're right, it is, but that's not
Compared.
and that's not enough to like go through a whole lockout.
Yeah.
And especially when you're easily replaceable if you're like the 50th guy on the roster.
Right.
So that's why the NFL's player empowerment sucks. And the reason is like also one player, unless you're a quarterback,
Yeah, right.
you can't make as much of a difference as in like the NBA.
Right.
Because in the NBA, like LeBron, he can be on offense and on defense. Like James Harden, he can pass the ball, he can do all this bullshit on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like freaking who else? Like Giannis, he can have big impacts on the court.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers can only throw the ball.
Right.
That's like all he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And he can just hope for the best on everything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Davante, he can only, like, when Jordan Love was his quarterback for, like, the Chiefs game,
Yeah.
like, almost every time that Jordan Love threw Davante's way, it was like completely out of his reach. So like there was nothing Davante could do.
Davante is only good if the quarterback is decent. You know, like only if the quarterback throws it. Like a wide receiver in general.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's all wide receivers.
Yeah, right.
As long as like all wide receivers are dependent on their quarterback.
It's because in the NFL there's more of a specific, like a
Specified role?
like specialization, specialization of
Position? Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what you're saying.
Because I would say, obviously the NBA is a team game.
Yeah.
But I would say the NFL is more of a team game just because you have 11 players against another 11 players.
Right.
And like, that's kind of why too.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to, let me wrote some stuff. Do you want to talk about biorhythm?
No, let's talk about March Madness first.
Okay.
Talk about March Madness. Dude, there's a lot of upsets first day, bro.
Yeah,
two 5 seeds lost. Kentucky lost, who was a 2 seed.
Oh, I saw that at the gym.
Yeah, and then and then a 6 seed lost, and then there was like a couple 9-8 upsets, like 2 I think. But what's crazy was that Kentucky was the 2 seed and they lost to a 15 seed. But people are calling it the greatest upset of all time. Listen. Because money wise, Kentucky put in 13 more times of money. Oh wait, sorry.
They invested 13 more times amount of the money that St.
Petersburg did, and which is the biggest amount ever, which is the biggest disparity between 2 teams ever, even between the
1 and 16,
the 1 and 16 seed. Like, even though the 1 and 16 seed is crazy, like, don't get me wrong, but it's just, the thing is that Kentucky is like the mecca of like college basketball. Like,
they're one of like the big names in college basketball, but like I feel like Kentucky, like, not that they don't do shit in the tournament, but they never go like super duper deep into the tournament. At least like I can remember.
More in more recent times, but
I know the previous. Yeah, I'm talking about recently. That's all. You're right.
You know, like when we were kids, they would.
Yeah.
They were almost, dude. They went like 36-0. They had like the longest win streak ever in NCAA basketball history. And plus,
who ruined that win streak?
Yeah, Frank the Tank. But like, also they produced the most NBA players out of any of the big powerhouse schools. You know what I mean? Like the best NBA players. You know what I mean? So, but historically, compared to Virginia, who lost to a 16 seed. Kentucky is like when you talk about college basketball teams, you talk about Duke, North Carolina, and Kentucky. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, but hear me out on this. The past success of your team shouldn't have any indication of the bigness of that upset this season.
No, but also the thing is different in college basketball. It's different because the coach has more power. You understand?
Like your coaching matters.
The coaching matters a little bit more than it does like in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even though the past doesn't matter, you know, you get different players. It's really about the coaches and the name's legacy. You know what I mean? Like, because regardless of whatever year, Kentucky's getting the top recruits of the top recruits every year.
No, that's true. I mean? Yeah, you're right. But my whole thing is like it just doesn't hold the same weight for me. Maybe it's just because the 15th seed has beat the 2 seed before. It happens like every other year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas when like UMBC beat Virginia, the 16th seed in the entire tournament's history has never, ever beat a 1 seed.
Yeah, and I agree with you, which is crazy. I think also you just don't understand the impact it has within college basketball. You know what I mean? Because you don't really watch college basketball like that, or you've never really followed college basketball. No. It's just like Kentucky losing is just like fuck. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like that's
Like already?
yeah. You know what I mean? It's like if Duke lost already. You know
Yeah,
what
I know, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But he is right. I don't really watch college basketball, so
You know, and it is, and like, well, going back to the stat about the 13 times more, the 1 in 16 seed was only half of that, like in money wise. And dude, I saw a picture of St. Petersburg fucking college court, and our high school our high school court, basketball court, looked better than theirs, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just the degree, the smallness of St. Pete. It's like St. Petersburg is what Florida Gulf Coast was a couple of years ago, bro.
But
No one was
we
talking-
love to see it though. We love upsets.
Yeah. And it's
Shout
just,
out to St.
and
Petersburg.
also they're from Jersey City, bro. Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
bro,
they
that
said.
fuck got a copy of St. Petersburg. Man. There was this
Yeah.
one dude on team number 25. He had some baby blue shoes, cool as fuck. I don't know your name, but he had some cool ass shoes.
Yeah, so I would consider this one of the, I don't know, I think you still might be right in the fact that it was 16 to 1 seed, but this is up there.
No,
This
I'm
is
not
definitely
saying
up
it's
there,
not
you
a
know
big
what I mean?
upset. I'm just saying that I'm just like, I feel like almost nothing can beat a 116 upset,
Right,
you know?
Yeah, and it's just like, it has to do with the fact that Kentucky has won so many championships, and Virginia doesn't really win that many. Like they're a team.
I get what you're saying in that
Yeah.
point, but my whole point is like, I don't really care what you did in the past. I'm focused on this season
Right.
and like how good you were this season.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm just like separating all your past from this season. And
Right.
this
I
season,
get what you're saying.
you lost to the 15 seed, you
Yeah.
bum.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that was my spiel about March Madness. I'm gonna watch more games today.
True, blue shoe.
Because yesterday was good, bro. And I got one more thing. Another big team, Big Ten team lost, bro. Iowa lost. And, bro, Big Ten always has the most teams in the fucking tournament, and everyone's out by, like, the Sweet 16. Even though Michigan did win, and they did an upset, 11-6, but still, fucking Iowa.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. That's
Guys,
how
bro,
I
it's just like, oh my goodness, you know?
I saw Wisconsin got blown out.
Yeah, bro.
I was like,
dude, it's just like, I don't know what it is about the Big Ten in the fucking tournament, besides Wisconsin that one year when they played Duke in the finals. It's just like they don't make it, bro. And Michigan, when they had Jordan Poole, they made it to the Final Four. But still, bro, they always have the most teams and only end up with like 1 or 2 teams in the Sweet 16. I don't understand, bro. And they have like 10 teams, bro, most years. It's whatever. But, Rutgers was another Big Ten team they fucking lost, bro.
damn, Rutgers
Yeah.
from New Brunswick.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, they lost to Notre Dame. Well, that was for the play-in. That was
But still.
Yeah.
Damn.
But, so biorhythm.
Yeah.
This is really interesting. So, when I was in Vegas, that was like 2 weeks ago now. My dad and I, we were talking, and I was like, damn, like, I'm not getting any good luck on anything, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't winning shit. And my dad was like, maybe your biorhythms are off. And I was like, what's that? You know what I mean? And he was like, well, it's basically, wait, hold on. Look up biorhythms on your phone.
Okay.
So-
I'm looking at it, man.
Basically, it's like faith, it's like 3 characteristics, ability to create luck, basically.
I'm gonna read. It's a
Yeah.
pseudoscience, but it's
You didn't have to say that, okay?
Yeah.
Because with the story that I'm about to tell you is pretty crazy.
all right. The biorhythm theory is a pseudoscientific idea that our daily lives are significantly affected by rhythmic cycles with periods of exactly 23, 28, and 33 days.
Yeah.
Typically a 23-day physical cycle, a 28-day emotional cycle, and a 33-day intellectual cycle. So what does that all mean?
So basically, to show you people right here, this is, can you see that?
Yeah.
So that's a biorhythm chart, and basically it connects your physical, emotional, and intellectual biorhythm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or, kind of like where the state of your physical and your emotional and your intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
And if those three things are aligned, it means that whatever you're manifesting or you're trying to manifest, or let's say like, oh, I'm going to win this game, you have a higher chance of winning it because your physical, your intellectual, and your emotional states are aligned.
I don't know about that. I always manifest the Packers winning the Super Bowl.
But that's the
I
thing.
know, I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with
That's
you.
the
I'm fucking
thing.
with
Your
you.
biorhythms might be off, dude.
Playoff time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And the crazy thing is that, okay, I was like, come on, Dad. Like, nah, you know what I mean? But I looked my biorhythms up. Like, there's a calculator, and they were all off, dude. Like you guys saw like the swivels. They were all
not close together.
Not close together. They're supposed to be like in perfect unison if they're in line, but they weren't. And I was like, maybe that's why I'm getting so bad luck because like even though as much as I want to, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna win. Just like, the faith of it is just not happening at the moment. But anyways,
my only thing is that doesn't sound like, it sounds like a little crazy, but not like super duper crazy. The only craziest thing for me is that it's always like a 26, 28, 33 day cycle.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even measure that?
That's the thing. They have an equation, bro. That's how you can calculate that shit.
Man, I can have an equation for anything.
But it's like a thought out mathematical equation it's just like, the reason why I believe it is because of the fact that there's a mathematical equation backing this pseudoscience. You know what I mean? When you talk about astrology, there's no mathematical equation. It's more like charting. You know what I mean? Like the sun and the moon. You know what I mean? But anyways, the reason why I thought this was crazy and kind of believable is because my dad, he used to use this to bet on teams. He used to calculate players' biorhythms, dude. And if they were off, he would bet against them. And and he would win, bro.
I just
he
think
would
that's
win.
funny is how I see where you get your gambling from.
No, I'm not addicted to gambling, bro. It's just
I just like it.
And then the reason my dad was telling me why he got into it is because one time they were before the Super Bowl, they were showing like on NBC or something like that. They were talking about biorhythms, and they tested players' biorhythms, and the dude who I forgot, like it was like this receiver who his biorhythms were off, bro, ended up having a career-ending injury in the game, bro.
Damn.
Yeah, it's just like I think that's kind of crazy, and the fact that my dad would take the time to calculate the players' biorhythms and he would predict who played good and who played bad. He would bet against them or bet for them, and most of the time he would win. I think it really just has to do like, I don't know. I just don't I don't know exactly why I believe it, but I do. You know what I mean? And it's just more intricate because it's very simple. It's three characteristics that hold true to anything that help you move forward. Like physical, intellectual, and emotional are very important when it comes to like winning a football game. You know what I mean? So if it makes sense, if those things are off, then you probably won't play good or something will happen to you. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Interesting stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. And maybe Kentucky's biorhythms were off, bro. Maybe the players' biorhythms were off.
Or maybe St. Peter's biorhythms were just on.
Yeah.
Who knows? Not me, that's for sure.
And I think it's really good to connecting the idea of upsets. You know what I mean? Maybe that even though the top dog team is the top dog team throughout the whole season, that day their biorhythms were off, bro. And that's why they lost, because the other team's biorhythms were on.
Damn,
you know
I
what
wonder
I mean?
if Steph Curry's shooting slump was in correlation with his biorhythms.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It makes sense because a biorhythm, it shifts. You know what I mean? It changes. It's not always off and it's not always on. And that's why we have things such as cold, like I'm referring to sports, like we have cold streaks where we can't make shit or whatever. You know what I mean? But and then we got hot streaks where everything is going in, or hot games where everything is going in. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's my spiel on biorhythms.
I was gonna say, you want to talk about your concert?
Oh yeah, I went to a Mine concert yesterday for free.
Cause he a bitch.
Shout out Kenny, but it was fun, dude. It was really fun.
Hey,
Mine is a good performer, bro. He's funny too.
Yeah.
He's funny. No, it's just funny because Amine is like one of those artists where like no one knows about him, but everyone knows about him. You know what I mean?
Exactly what you mean.
You know, like
I feel like everybody knows some of his songs.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
not
yeah.
necessarily everybody listens to his music.
Right. It's like he's one of those artists like, damn, I forgot I knew this song. You know what I mean? Like, you know. So there was a couple songs that I hadn't listened to in a long time. I was like, damn, I forgot about these songs. Like, I don't know if you remember Red Mercedes.
It was off his first album, right?
Yeah.
And there was that one music video where him and his friends were like at the dealership.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah. So, no, it was like a little nostalgic too. You know, it was a good concert though. He had like a whole set and everything like that. It was cool, man. It looks like, I like the fact that he really cares about his performance. You know what I mean? And he gives people what they came for. You know, like the value. So it was a good concert. And he played Reel It In too. Oh, bro,
banger.
That's a banger,
That's
bro.
a banger.
That's a banger. Yeah. So, cool beans.
I was gonna say, is there anything you want to talk about?
No.
Alright. I guess just the last things I want to say about the Packers, and we'll wrap it up. I'll make this like a little fire round. Equinemius St. Brown went to the Bears. I didn't like him until
He
this.
did?
Yeah, until this last. I honestly did not like Equinemius St. Brown until this last season, because this last season he just started showing little flashes of potential. You guys potentially got like, at best, like maybe a solid number 3.
Yeah.
Out of the running back duo, AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, I think AJ Dillon, honestly, last year, low-key, you could make the argument that he was a little better than Aaron Jones. The only thing was, I feel like Aaron Jones, when we needed him the most in like a game, he would always show up. But I feel like this upcoming season, I feel like AJ Dillon, just because I feel like I saw a little bit of decline from Aaron Jones, because that's what happens with running backs, they age a little earlier. I saw just like, I feel like he was like, if this was his peak, I think like he was like, dink. Oh, you can't really see it, but it was like, dink.
You can't see it.
I forgot that doesn't show. He got a text message and I forgot that doesn't show up on your guys' video. So you know, so that's how I feel about this quote unquote decline. I just feel like if I had to guess, he would get a little worse. And I feel like AJ Dillon still hasn't hit the reach of his mountain peak yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mountain Beach.
Yeah.
You hungry, buddy?
No, I ate. So that's what I had to say. Alan Lazard, he's gonna go off next season. You want to draft a new wide receiver for your fantasy football team? Alan Lazard is your guy. And Adrian Amos is an underrated. I hit my balls. Oh, that hurt. Adrian Amos is an underrated safety.
Good job.
Good job. Oh, that hurt.
All right. Bye, guys.